Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek Discovery Season 1, Episode 8. It is called, forgive my pronunciation here, my Latin's not quite up to scratch, CV Pacem para Bellum, which I did look up the translation. It's, if you want peace, prepare for war.
Cool.
So they went classy with a Latin title this week. So full spoilers for the episode. And remember, actually, this was meant to be the last one before the break.
I'm glad it's not because it doesn't feel like it should have been.
It doesn't. Also, because it ends in a cliffhanger, like it's a two-parter.
Yeah.
We're expecting the second part next week, so they've kind of changed it, so we are getting that now. So that makes a lot of sense. So I had like it's not a remake of an original series episode, but it was heavily reminding me of one.
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember the episode Errand of Mercy from season 1 we did earlier in the year. And
Remind me.
right, so let me just I pulled it up because I wanted to actually get the details right. So the race on this planet in this season 1 original series episode was the Organians, right? And
Yeah.
Kirk and Co go to talk to them about some sort of deal. The Klingons want it as well. The Klingons take them over, and Kirk and that like, oh, we can help you fight. We can fight them back. You can't be pacifists anymore. And at the end of the episode, so spoilers for this old episode of Star Trek, but at the end of the episode, they reveal they're not really humanoids, because obviously it's just actors playing parts all episode.
Yeah.
They reveal they're actually incorporeal beings, they're ancient, and they're pacifists, and they actually make both sides like disarm, and
Yeah.
make them sign a peace treaty, and they're the ones who kind of broker peace. And I couldn't help but think of that heavily at the end of this episode, because the main plot of this one is that Michael, Saru, and Ash go down to this planet, Pavos, and it's very. But do you know what I liked about this planet actually? I feel this is the first time we've went to a planet that feels like an updated version of what we might have seen in the original series, because it was just like all these blue leaves and stuff, but it looked much better obviously than what it would
Yeah.
have.
Yeah. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was really, really pretty. And I really like that. So they're going down there because basically the Klingon stealth technology, the cloaking mechanics, are spreading. Because Call's spreading it around, they're basically becoming really hard to fight. So much so that at the start of the episode, the Discovery flies in to help this other Starfleet ship that's been attacked by Klingon ships. And it's doing their best. It's a really cool little action scene, actually. And, he has the ship dive in to take the hits of two
Yeah.
torpedoes.
And it's the idea that they have to unstealth to attack. So it's
Yeah.
like this this waiting game.
Yeah, and I like that they get hit themselves, and it's like, did we get both torpedoes? Did we get both? And then you just see the other ship blow up, and it's a really, given the fact that I've never met any of the crew in that ship, it was a surprisingly effective little moment. Because at the very least, you felt everyone on our bridge feel kind of like, oh shit, we just
Yeah,
failed.
you felt their desperation in trying to save them. Like they probably don't even know anyone on the ship. I mean, some of them might, but not personally necessarily. But it's the idea of no, these are our fellow people. We've got to save them.
Yeah, many of them. Yeah, it's kind of like when you're a soldier in a war, you don't know every other soldier that's fighting in the army. You're just all on the same
Of
side.
course.
But kind of like us, like all they really know is the captain from this ship, who's just like on comms, maybe for this few minutes while this is all going down, and then they're gone, dead, just like that. The rest of the team are already off board, but obviously it links into it because this is why they're down here. They're trying to find a way of detecting these ships. So they went to this planet that has this natural kind of occurrence.
Transmitter beacon.
Yeah, there's this natural noise that emanates from the planet, and there's a seemingly natural kind of tower that actually amplifies it and broadcasts it out into space. And they're going to manipulate this and sort of create a new type of sonar that'll help detect the invisible ships.
It's a
And
good plan.
it's a decent little plan, and we have them going through the forest. Some obviously we've not had a whole ton of Saru recently, so it was nice. This episode was largely focused on him in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
so it was really nice to kind of have that. And we learn a couple of things, like he has like a much quicker. He can run like really. His species can run like 80 kilometers per hour or something like that. They said
Yeah,
when he's scared.
just because they got when you got to run, you got to run. That's his deal.
So, like, stuff like that. Admittedly, when we actually see it later on, it's probably the first time in the show where I went, that effect wasn't quite as best as it maybe could have been.
That's fair.
Because
Yeah,
I'm so used to it with TV, you watch The Flash or whatever, and there's every episode has some effects where you're like, that's the best I can do on the budget, it's fine. But this show has been so consistently good at, no, this just feels like a movie budget, and it's fine, always. That's stuck out as being, oh, that I felt the effects there, and not the actual desired sort of like appearance of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen eventually, but it was ropey. But I mean, we got this far, so credit where it's due.
It's funny how it's actually easier to do someone like the Flash who's running that fast compared to this, where it's just faster than us, but not
Not
to
stupidly fast.
yeah, because it's kind of like they still want it to look natural, but that makes
Yeah,
it harder to do.
it's still perceivably fast.
Yeah. It worked a little bit better when it was a really wide shot and it was like really in the distance and you just sort of see him out of focus, like running across in the background.
Yeah.
But some of the shots were a bit iffy. So basically, what happens is they discover there was like a light being, like a again not non corporeal, kind of like the Ingurians and the old episode. It has blue light all kind of forms together, and they don't speak as such, but they kind of try and convey thoughts, and they speak to Saru, and uh, basically he after like sort of like linking up with him because the entire time he's there at first he's like, yeah, this noise sounds pleasant to you, but to me with all my extra senses because of my fear sort of tracking abilities and whatnot, and like it's painful for him. This is like agony for him. He's like in pain, and when they try and go to sleep one night, it's like he's trying to like sort of he's basically trying to do the arrival thing where he's trying to like learn to communicate. he's like, oh, we're still building a vocabulary.
Yeah, pretty much.
But when he tries to go to sleep that night, he ends up like the blue stuff goes into him, and he kind of like not merges, but because I think a big part of the episode is you're thinking for the rest of it because his personality changes.
It's almost like, is he possessed?
Yeah, you're questioning, has he been altered in some way? And I actually think it's much sadder that you find out that he's not been altered. It's just for the first time in his life he's not been scared, and he likes it too much that he just wants to stay.
Yeah, it is. Because obviously up till now he's seemed very capable, and we've never seen any signs of fear from him. He's obviously learned to live with it, and I don't think we realised just how tortured he was until this moment.
It was because I think as I realised what was going on, as I realised through the episode that no, this was just he's never felt at peace before. He just wants to keep it. That's all this is. And to the point where there should be repercussions for the fact that he did turn around and say, "Oh no, I'll break your communicators," which he does. And he's like, "No, we're just going to stay here. This planet and its beings, they don't even show up on our scanners. Like they've evolved way beyond us, and they've achieved everything we try to do through diplomacy and through discovery and everything else. Like they've already done it. We should just listen to them." And to the point where Michael and Ash have to kind of go behind his back and have to try and accomplish the mission without him. And because I think at first as well, when I thought maybe he was possessed or maybe he'd been altered in some way, that, oh, why is it not affecting them? But then it makes sense because human beings, for all our faults, we are very good at sometimes putting things away in a closet and just being peaceful for a while. We can kind of compartmentalize at times.
We can, yes.
Yeah, and that's
when it suits us.
And that's an ability he does not have. Sometimes to a fault, of course. We can be very cold with certain things.
Apathetic over things we shouldn't.
Yeah. So there's a balance, of course, but in this case, it's a strength because it doesn't like stop them from doing their jobs. Because despite the fact of what Saru is feeling, there's still a war going on up there. And as we saw at the start of the episode, I think they said something like 450 people just died. We just lost that many people.
Yeah, just like that.
So, we know the stakes are high, we know things are going there. So I liked all the stuff on the planet. It was maybe a touch rushed. This is where I really wish that it wasn't airing on TV in Canada, because apparently I've not watched any of the After Trek, because they've got like a discussion show.
I don't watch any of those really.
Yeah, which is funny given what we do. But
I think that's why I don't watch them, because I don't want my opinions to be clouded.
Exactly, yeah. We want to talk about it without the extra info. But one thing I did hear from this, apparently they always talk about all the stuff that's been cut out of each episode. And given that it's a streaming show, for everyone else, it's kind of weird that they're having to edit it down to a roughly,
for a network's time slot.
Yeah, but it's basically because of Canada. That's why. So I almost wish that maybe
Screw
later
you,
on.
Canada.
Bit harsh, but all right. But I almost wish that later on we actually get like extended like director's cuts of the episodes, because I do feel the pacing been kind of hit a little bit.
No, I agree, because I think for the most, I know we said it last week how it felt like Star Trek for the first time. This was the same. We're down on a planet, we've got a group, we're interacting with a species,
but it's serving this greater plot. So in a sense, it's actually kind of
this was a perfect balance.
Yeah.
If it had just nailed it a little bit better, but the idea, this is what I want from this show more of.
Exactly. Yeah. So pacing was a little bit off. And you really feel like Saru's going off the deep end because when she's at the beacon, which is kind of like half natural, half made. It's kind of that mixed thing. It's one of these things where I almost like when they got on the planet and they're talking about it, and I wasn't really sure if it was made or not. I'm like, is this kind of like some sort of weird Stonehenge type mystery where no one's really sure like how it came to be?
It kind of looks like if a tower of crystals just grew.
Kinda, yeah. Which I thought the crystals looked good because those crystals that were sort of sticking out of it, that's exactly the sort of thing that often looks goofy in like sci-fi sets. But I was like, nah, they got a good material for that. They're just transparent enough. They look nice, and I'm like,
They do. They got a nice light glow to them.
yeah, yeah. So they get beamed up. Discovery comes back and picks them up, and the beings on the planet, which they basically are just naming what they call the planet, Pavos. But the beings kind of fixed the little transmitter thing, even though Saru's like smashed it to bits. But then the big cliffhanger of the episode is that what they've actually done is they've sent out a beacon to bring the Klingons here as well, because this being a peaceful being, an entity which doesn't even have corporeal form, is like, no, let's solve your differences, let's fix this. Which again reminded me of Errands of Mercy. It was a very similar kind of idea.
Yeah, and of course, they talked about how, or Saru mentioned how these beings kind of are the planet. They're not separate entities. The whole planet is them to some degree. And so you kind of have to feel like, okay, so when the Klingons show up, are they just going to bomb the shit out of the planet? And
they might, yeah, because that was the thing. Saru said, no, if you help us, the Klingons might find out, and if they find out, they'll come here and destroy everything, because that's what they do.
And if they see this beacon and go, hey, they realize that this could be used against them, they're going to try and destroy it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I have to assume so. They can't. They would feel weird for them to just leave it.
It depends. How much did the beacon, like, when they sent the message to them to come here, how much did
information did they get? Yeah.
I'm not sure. So, no, it's interesting. So we're leaving this big cliffhanger where Michael's like, yeah, Captain, we kind of have to stay and fight because they will kill this planet. Because that's the other thing that makes this feel very Star Trek. There's a lot of talk in it about the Prime Directive and about how, now that we realise this technology, so to speak, belongs to a race, we have to make them understand and accept the request to use it. We can't just steal it anymore.
Yeah, because it starts, he thinks, it's a General Order 1, so, we can't interfere with them. It's just like, come on, they're way beyond that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more than developed. We don't need to worry about that. It's just need permission.
Yeah, exactly. Which... it's just nice to bring. Obviously, Star Trek's kind of guilty of constantly breaking its own rules in that sense with the Prime Directive. Like so many captains at this point of just throwing them out the window when the time calls for it. But
yeah, but she's not a captain. She doesn't have the authority to do that, which is why it's more interesting, I think.
Yeah. So no, I liked all that stuff. Obviously, they have a little romantic moment as well, and so on. People are still very, very suspicious of Ash, and I get why. I get why people are suspicious. Actually, there's a theory right now that he's actually one of the Klingons specifically from earlier on. Someone was looking into his like the actor who's named for the Klingon part. It's like an alias of this guy based on his past or something like that. It was intriguing. It was like, okay, there's some evidence here that maybe adds up.
So how is he a Klingon though? Like some sort of technology, cloaking, shape shifting?
Imagine so. If he is, though, I find it interesting how close he's getting to Michael.
Yeah, assuming it's not just an act.
Yeah, assuming it's not just an act. No, that's a fair point. But no, so no, I liked all this side of stuff. Like we say, the cliffhanger does not feel like if this had been the cliffhanger and then see you after Christmas, it'd have been like, oh, that was an awkward one to end it on.
I'd have kind of been annoyed because it's like, I mean, it is a cliffhanger, which is in some ways what they want, but
I wouldn't have been annoyed at the show because it's not really their fault because they didn't plan it this way.
That's it. We know this is kind of a scheduling thing. They've fallen behind, so it's like, okay, well, let's just give them what we can.
Yeah. Because ideally, what CB Access should have done is say, all right, it's not ready, so we'll hold it back until January and just air it all in one chunk then. But they didn't.
No, but they definitely wanted to hit this year after all the delays and promises.
Yeah, it was maybe January 2017 originally. So
yeah, they couldn't hit 2018. That would be embarrassing for them, I think.
So we've been very positive about the main plot of the episode. I think then we'll shift over to the subplot of the episode, which is the Admiral who's been kidnapped by the Klingons, and do you remember the name? The Klingon?
Laurel.
Laurel, yes. I remember it's got an apostrophe in it, but I never remember the goddamn name. So she's trying to prove herself to Call, and is like, no, I can follow you, I can worship you, I am useful. Well, prove your worth. Get the prisoner talking, and she goes in. Now I have to criticize this plot because I actually like the idea when it was simple enough where I thought she wanted to defect because she doesn't like her own race anymore and what Call's doing to them. I was like, okay, I'm into this as an idea. And then it got so murky and confusing as to what was actually going on with her plan that it completely fell apart.
It got way too convoluted, and I think we should have just cut all of this out and had an extra, 7 minutes on the planet.
I can see that because I like the idea of having a Klingon that we're sympathetic to that could maybe lead to something as an ally or something like that. But because she comes to the Admiral and she's like, as soon as the other guard's away, she's like, okay, we can talk now. Yeah, I'm not happy. He's killing all of my clan. Everyone that I've cared about has been killed. I want to defect. Because she's like, oh, what do you do with prisoners of war? Like, do you do this? Do you do that? Oh, you don't kill them? Oh, that sounds quite nice. So I think,
Yeah, I'm with you.
yeah. And like, okay, right, so I've got a ship docked elsewhere. Let's go there and we'll get off. And they're going along, and other Klingons see them. And I thought this scene was, oh, I'm going to pretend to kill the Admiral and then take her to the ship afterwards. I'm just going to have to rough her up a little bit. That's what I thought was happening in this scene.
Yeah.
And I still thought it was. I thought she knocked her out, right? And she's like, "Oh, the prisoner tried to escape. I'll dispose of the body." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." And then she drags her to the old sort of dining room of this Klingon ship, and all of our old clan members who had sworn allegiance to Call were all lying there dead, and they're all just sort of ripped apart and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, by Grathbar's hammer, I will avenge you." Kind of moment, right? That's basically the scene. It's
pretty much.
Alan Rickman from Galaxy Quest, classic. But that's she's like swearing vengeance, and I'm like, okay, because I thought when she came out of this room, like, okay, she's going to shut the door and wake up the Admiral, and then they'll, realign their plan. Okay, what we're doing now that we've almost been caught, so on. And then the Admiral just never woke up, and I'm like, oh, is she actually dead?
It's really strange because I think that was the plot. Like, because when she gets caught and she's like, oh yeah, I'll swear you my loyalty, fine, whatever. And he's like, no, you lied to me. So was that the plan the whole time? Was she actually going to defect? I'm really confused.
I think she was at first, but then because it didn't accomplish anything then going back on it, so I have to imagine she was planning to defect. It's after all this where she comes back on the bridge, as you say, and then calls like, oh, you've been lying to me. Show what we do with liars. And that's basically that last scene. And I'm not sure, like... It's just murky. I don't understand what happened.
I don't know what it accomplished because it started off with, okay, this is what this is, which made sense, and then it just lost itself, and now I don't know what the point of it is.
Maybe it'll make more sense once we get more of it, and we'll see where she's going. Because I'm actually I'm starting to like her a little bit, and like sort of what her intentions are. But it's the way this was told in this episode was really, really confusing and really murky.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
In a basic storytelling way, it just didn't follow on. Like, event to event just didn't really make that much sense. So
Right, because I don't understand if I mean, I don't know if the Admiral's alive or not. I legitimately have no idea. And I don't think we're supposed to be this confused about it.
Yeah, like, did she actually put her on a ship and send her off, but she stayed back because she wants to remain in the inside to try and, like, dismantle things?
I mean, maybe it'll be a case of next episode we see the Admiral, and it'll be like, she'll meet up and go, oh, that's what happened.
And part of me thinks she has to be dead because, she wanted to get rid of Lorca. So it makes sense that she'd be dead, but...
Unless that's part of, okay, so they come back and they have a bit of a cliffhanger. It's like, and, it ends with, and Lorca, you're under arrest for, whatever.
Yeah, I think the key point here is, though, it doesn't feel ambiguous, like they want us to not know for sure. It just feels confusing because they didn't know how to tell it properly.
It feels like there's... I said, oh, maybe they should have cut most of this stuff out. I actually feel like there's a scene missing, explaining what happened, showing us just something, just a couple of moments.
Yeah, just part of it. Part of it feels missing. Yeah, so like
just either showing us she's still breathing, or at the very least.
Like I say, it's not. This could be ambiguous, and that could be the point, but it doesn't feel intentionally ambiguous. It feels like this is just kind of a mess. This plot line, this episode, and it doesn't really add up.
Yeah, pretty much, and
so it's
really hurts the episode overall.
murky as shit. But hey, Elsewhere, a couple of small things to also talk about. Stamets is being affected by his implants, by his changed genetics. He's starting to get confused. He calls Tilly Captain Tilly at one point.
I did want to, obviously last week was the whole, he was kind of outside of time. That time, is he kind of almost seeing the future?
It may be.
Because she's on the captain's track now. That's her aim.
Yeah, which is a really cool tease, actually. Sure, it's almost like for a second, like she's like, "Oh, that sounded nice. I should be concerned." Stamets, Lieutenant, are you okay?
Yeah.
You okay? You not feeling a bit rough? And she tries to talk to him, and she basically disregards an order at one point because he tries to get rid of her at lunch, and she's like, "No, I'm not going." And he's like, "I can't really tell, doctor/boyfriend because it puts him in a tough place. Either he reports me and it takes me off the case and gets a lot of people in trouble, or he keeps it a secret and then later on that gets him in a hell of a lot of trouble." So
yeah. Better just to not let him know. This is one of those times where a character keeping a secret from a loved one has legitimately good reason.
Yeah, you only say that though because we get it so much in network TV that where it doesn't make sense. So
No, I know, but I just because Star Trek is typically network TV, so I thought give it the props where it's due.
That's fair. That's fair. So it was mostly pretty good. It felt a little bit rushed. Could I use a bit more breathing room? And the subplot with Laurel and the Admiral was very confusing and not in an intentional way by any means. So overall, I'd probably still say it was up there in terms of the season as a whole so far. If you're ranking the episodes, I still think it ranks quite highly because it does.
It's in the top half for sure.
Yeah, it does a lot of Star Trek-y things, and I'm liking the dilemmas it's bringing up, and Saru's character specifically, I think, benefits the most, but.
Yeah, and some great acting from him in this episode.
Yeah, but not as strong as last week's though, because last week's was pretty much, Yeah,
that was the high point.
Yeah, no real weak spots in that one. So there we go. That has been episode 8 of Star Trek Discovery. We'll be back next week for the mid-season finale, episode 9. So join us for that. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. And I kind of alluded to it because I was talking about the season 1 episode, but we are also reviewing the original series right now, week to week. We are right bang in the middle of season 2. There'll be a new episode of that going up this coming Sunday on YouTube. And then weekly from there. Because we took a week off, which is why I say this coming Sunday. We had this week off. But so yeah. So check that out. But otherwise, guys, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?